Single most important skill any entrepreneur can learn is sales. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a coder, you're an engineer, you're a mechanic, you're a beer brew drafts. I don't care what you do. The single most critical skill you will learn as an entrepreneur, and it is 10 times more important than every other skill that comes after it, is sales. So if there's one excuse I never accept from entrepreneurs is I can't sell. Then don't be an entrepreneur. There's many other. Go be an accountant somewhere. Go practice HR. You know, there are companies that have nice long meetings and people sit and they have cookies and biscuits and there's an agenda. Go there.
That's where they belong.
That's where you belong. But in our world, we sell. So
I like that.
So that's the first thing. And the second thing I want to say to your question is, I also hate entrepreneurs that have the idea that they've got to have runway before they start a business. And there's this pervasive culture now in South Africa. You know, people go and create a business plan, and the business plan, I say I need 18 months runway, and I'm going to raise capital, and there's 18 months. Who's runway? Where are you running? On whose money, right? Because somebody has to pay the piper. So you want to start this thing, and you're telling funders, we've got to part with money to fund your dreams? I got my own dreams, player. I'll fund my own dreams.
Yes.
So the single most important skill you'll learn is sales. So what did I do? I sold. I used to do this thing called burn the line. In my business today, the team will tell you, I still tell them, burn the line. You know what that means? It means you pick up the phone, you come up with a telephone directory, and you do not put that thing down until you close a sale.
Wow.
I don't care what you say. What are you selling? HR consulting services? How do you think you're going to do it? Invite people for coffees at Melrose Arch?
Doesn't work.
That won't work.
Yeah.
Run an email shot on MailChimp? That won't work. A clever little campaign on Twitter, Facebook? That will not work. Get on the phone, get a directory, pick up the phone, and dial the fucking number. That's it. It's not. It really is not that complex. Even today, people don't know, guys don't know. Even today, I sell. When the team has the sale they've got to close and they need the big hitter, they pull Vusia. And I will walk in and I will close. That's what I do. Because if you can't bridge that skill as an entrepreneur, everything else you learn is immaterial.
Yeah.
The ability to develop now you guys, I feel like people are just distracted. Because you're designing websites and logos. Let's on. Let's on.
Trying to look pretty online, you know.
Not doing profiles and what are you doing, guys? People are trying to short circuit. Just.
So,
If you're an entrepreneur today and you've been in business for less than 3 years, a task for you when you leave here. When you leave here, designate one day in the week. Designate a morning in that day. You start at 9. You finish at 11. You come up with a cold call list of 200. You know how I know? Because in 2 hours, you'll make 200 phone calls. And here's how the rules work in sales. It's 10 for 1. You make 10 phone calls, you get 4 appointments, 1 sale. But if you don't make the 10 phone calls, the 1 sale doesn't come. When you've done that, and you've got clients, and you're billing, and you're doing work, then you can worry about what's my website look like? What does my brand look like? Putting up an Instagram picture of you in your nice car. And then you can do that stuff. I was the very first speaker in South Africa to what we do call a sole designate, which means I went to all agencies in the country and I said to them, I don't want to work with you. South African market is fairly oligopolistic, so the access to conferencing and client events is controlled by agencies. So going to an agency and telling them you don't want to work with them is suicide. I went to order them and I said, I don't want to work with you. I don't want you to touch my stuff. You don't represent me. Take all my stuff down on your website. The reason I did it was because I understood a very simple fundamental law of marketing, which is he who sells the product controls product placement, positioning, and sentiment. And if they were selling me, they were positioning me next to speakers they had no business positioning me next to. So I was going, guys, do you understand that I've got now 4? But at the time I was like, do you understand that I've got like 2 degrees? I'm building a business. I'm working these kind of hours. And you're comparing me with this guy? No. So take my stuff off.
yeah.
And when I did it, my price tripled.
But then, Vusi, how were you then? No, wait. How were you then marketing
Getting the sale.
yourself?
This is the point. So this is the point I'm coming to. So the first thing I did is I got rid of these sort of third-party distributors. The second thing I did is I thought, and it's a great lesson for entrepreneurs to try. Just try this for yourself. If you ever lack motivation, if you ever lack motivation, just imagine your worst nightmares coming true. Just imagine the worst nightmare coming true. Imagine you've got zero money in the bank account, your biggest customer leaves you, and your biggest competitor doubles on revenue. What would you do? Okay, there's nothing like a good crisis to galvanize effort. But what I do sometimes is I force myself into the crisis. I go, things are comfortable. Excuse my language. Let's fuck shit up. So hold on. So what I did, so I did that, and then what I did is I knew now that I've fired them,
Yes.
I now have to build my own distribution model. Right. So we're going back, guys. This is 06. I went and registered Vusi as a trademark.
Wow.
Then Vusi Tembegwaya. Then got vusi.co.za. Then vusitembegwaya.com. This is before people even knew about websites. There was no Facebook, no Twitter back then. I went and did it. Then I went and found out where were the conferencing people going to conferences. They were all going to MICE and Saki and Oldie, and that's where I was. And that's where I positioned my brand. And it's an interesting thing. If you believe in the quality of your product, you don't need nobody to sell it for you. So I knew all I needed was one engagement. One would give me 4. Because in the room, there were 200 people. 4 of them need somebody for their next event.
Yes.
Those 4 give me 16.
Yes.
And then it's a multiple effect. So when I looked at it, I went and thought, why would I develop one product and then just statically deliver this thing? Same joke, same pause, same content. Doesn't make sense.
No. Yeah.
So what I then started doing is I'd go, every single client that was booking me, I'd go and meet with them. I didn't understand it, but in my mind, I was building the network. Because the speaker would, the CEOs went, wait, he wants to meet with us. Yeah. The speaker speaking at our conference wants to meet. Why does he want to meet with us? He says he wants us to brief him. Brief him? About what? So then I go and meet. Now I meet Stephen Kosov, who runs Investec. And I say, so tell me about your business. Tell me about what's happened. Tell me about where you started from. Tell me about the challenges you're facing. Tell me about the strategy of the firm. Tell me where you see it in 5 years' time. Who else gets this kind of access? I walk out, I've got a direct relationship. And then what I did, and this was, it's still to this day, it's my competitive edge. Every single engagement, every single client is tailored.
Wow.
But you got to remember, I trained, 4 years as a classically trained public speaker. I won the world championship twice. My skill is I can develop a presentation yesterday, deliver today like I've done it for 10 years. That's what I do. So because of it, I can develop different presentations tailored and deliver them at a 99% efficacy each time. Most people can only do one because they have to rehearse it 1,000 times. Make sense?
Yeah.
So when I built Motivate, I built it with a 0 marketing cost. 0. I had no marketing budget. For the first 6 years, we had no website.
Wow.
You didn't need a website. I traveled to Washington. I became a fellow at the Balanced Scorecard Institute. Why? Because in 2010, I was implementing Balanced Scorecard implementations long before people knew what Balanced Scorecard is. I've since forgotten what Balanced Scorecard is because my life has kind of moved on and now everybody does Balanced Scorecard. So the point is, and how did I know? There was a client, in fact, I'll tell you, it was the AA. They were implementing a Balanced Scorecard process, and they asked me to come and speak at the conference, and in the middle of it, they said, can you help us with this? I said, I don't know what it is, but I'll find out. And I went and learned, and then I came back. I was a fellow at the Balanced Scorecard Institute, developed the product, and started selling it. I made maybe 30 par over the years selling just that product. But the point is, put yourself in that space, be aggressive, learn, be hungry, be humble, be willing to learn new things all the time, and don't sit with version 1 of the product. Iterate this thing as often as you can. Get better every single time. If you have an employee, and this is the test if you're an entrepreneur, if you have an employee today, you fire them, if they come back in 3 months' time, they shouldn't recognize what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You should go, whoa, you've moved so fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Just wake up. You guys are sleeping. You know, there's the young people say you're sleeping on yourself. You guys are sleeping. African entrepreneurs, you guys are sleeping. Can I be honest? You're sleeping. You're entitled. You're lazy. You have a quick return syndrome. You have too many expectations too quickly. Just wake up, guys. Wake up. It took 30 years to build Apple. It took 40 years to build Dell. It took 40 years to build Microsoft. And this is in the world's largest economy. You're in the bottom of the darkest economy on earth. How long do you think it's going to take you? Wake up.
Yeah.
It's not just about the effort, but wake up on everything. Wake up to the opportunities that are alive. Wake up to the political systems that govern us. Just wake up. Be awake. Watch what's happening around you. Read, love, live, learn. Be in spaces. Be involved. Just get in. Get in. Take this plug of yours in life and plug it into the cord of the system so that we can all be in it together. But just wake up. Too many of us are sleeping. We're doing the same things we've always done. You're doing the same things everybody else has done, and then you're waiting for the world to come and meet you halfway, and it doesn't work that way. Just wake up. And by the way, in today's environment, you have zero excuse not to know how to do something. I could understand Sis Brenda Fassie not knowing how to do it. But in today's world of ubiquity of information, the zero marginal cost, the internet of things, you have no excuse not to know how to do something for yourself. Zero.